If we get an appropriation, special appropriation for next year for 8 cities in town, I'll tell you that article. What's a wild ass guess you think it would be?
That we would get?
When they would cut us 165.
A few $100,000 at most.
That would be huge. Right now.
Mike?
Hopefully, there might be glitches, but.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Finance. This town of Summers, this March 24th, 2026. Paul Hart present, Bruce Devlin, Joe Talisano, and Mike Parker are present. Bill Salka and Kathy Devlin are absent. We have reviewed the proposed fiscal year 2027 budgets, and I know that members of the Board of Finance may have some comments about them further, but we have an opportunity tonight for public comment with respect to the budgets, and at this point in time I would like to open the floor to public, anybody who wants to comment on the budget, any part of the budget, pro or con, or up or down, or anything at all. This is your opportunity to speak up. So if you'd like to speak, please come up. There's a microphone in front of you. Please take a seat. Relax. There should be a button that turns it on.
All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Would you please give us your name and address?
You got it. My name is Scott Sutter. I live at 210 Parker Road here in Summers, and today I am here representing the Recreation Committee. I've been on the board for, I believe, 10 or 12 years, and the reason why I'm not enjoying a Budweiser watching the sunset tonight is to share my concern with us taking paying for one of the Parks and Recs employees out of our fund. The main argument that I'm here to make is, and I'm sure the argument that's been presented in front of you, is this will not affect programming for the town. The reason why I'm here is I don't agree with that, and I'm very quickly going to present some metric. Looking back at the fund, going back to 2021, if we can absorb this employee into the fund, right? We can do it. But we'll only have about $10,000 a year left over without creating a cash burn. $10,000 is not enough for us to fulfill our mission in maintaining the park. Looking back to 2021, on average, we spend about just over $56,000 either paying for things for the town or maintaining different items within the park, and that is the trimmed average if we really want to, which is the lowest year and the highest year. We're all math people. The actual average is just over $78,000 that we spend in maintaining the park grounds. So $10,000 is not $78,000. So based on that metric and my math, we would see an immediate effect of our ability to provide our services. So I just want to put that on the public record, let everybody know, and for you to make that business decision. So thank you so much.
Anyone else wish to speak concerning the budget? Can I have a Board of Education update, please?
Sure. I'm not sure I responded to the questions that you sent. Thank you for that.
The other members of the Board of Finance received those questions and our responses. Probably no. So I'll just do.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sure. Brian, you need?
So thank you for those questions. I'm not sure if you wanted to start discussing any of the responses or any additional questions that have come up upon your review of the budget.
Assuming, I'm not sure that it's my advanced age, I assume that was a question that you asked as to whether or not you wanted to.
Yeah, you so kindly sent a number of questions. I just wanted to make sure the other members of the Board of Finance had the questions that were posed, the responses that I sent, and then just to find out, do you want to start from the questions and or responses that were sent, or are there additional questions that you might have?
I have a, excuse me, I have a number of questions and thoughts. I know that Joe Talisano does, and I'm sure that perhaps Bruce and Paul have some questions as well. It seems as though and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems as though that the census at the school or schools is staying relatively stable. There has not been much change in the number of kids that we're dealing with based on your numbers, from 24 through 27.
Right.
So when you present the Board of Finance with a proposed budget, as you have done, where, for example, all of the teachers from the high school or all of the teachers from the middle school are lumped together in one line item, then it's, and you give a full-time equivalent next to the proposed budget in 2027. But if you don't provide us with a full-time equivalent in the prior year, it's hard to tell whether you've added a position or not. Okay? So I know that probably Stephanie is trying to be helpful when she combines these items, but really, in order to look at the budget and come up with any real understanding of what's going on, and I can't tell you how difficult it is for me, since you and Stephanie deal with these matters on a daily basis, and I see them once or twice a month, maybe for 3 months, and that's it.
Right.
And I rely on you folks to provide the information that allows us to look at this budget and tell what's going on.
Right.
Right? If we had, as I had asked in the very beginning, for the actual line item budget that is the foundation of what we actually get, then we might be able to understand whether you've added positions or not. And some of my questions about how many positions are filled or unfilled at the moment would be able to be understood by the document itself, and I wouldn't have to pester you to tell us what they are. And I've asked 3 questions about salary, about teachers, about certified personnel, non-certified personnel, and others. And your responses is that, you don't really respond. For example, with respect to question 6, non-certified salaries, we asked how many are empty at the moment, how many will be vacant at the end of the year, and you say non-certified positions are always under review, and many of them are dependent on student needs. currently there's no change in any non-certified positions. But that doesn't answer the question. And so, remember how stupid I am when it comes to understanding what you're doing. When you say there, a general response like that, it doesn't answer the question. It doesn't tell me what I need to know, how many positions are empty, how many positions will be empty at the end of the year. So I guess the reason I'm saying this, Sam, is that if you want us to be able to understand what you're budgeting for, we need to have clear facts, clear statements of fact. And we rely on you for that information. There's no other way we're going to get it. Right? So you can see the concern that I have. And for example, I asked in question 3 for the full-time, for the FTEs, the full-time equivalents for the approved budget personnel so that increases or decreases could be identified. And what you did is you said for 27, there are 266 full-time equivalents. That may be the number of people that you have that work in the school department, but that doesn't do anything to allow me to determine whether in a particular category there's increases or decreases. That's just a number.
So can I
Totally irrelevant. Yeah.
can I respond? So
Well, just let me say one thing, and I'll shut up. I mean, you understand my dilemma in terms of the fact that the 266 or the 265 full-time equivalents, without reference to anything, doesn't mean anything for me. It doesn't help me understand whether there are increases or decreases. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, as you're speaking and as I'm understanding, Attorney Parker, so you're a very sharp man, I thought you were looking for the aggregate number. That's why you got 265 and 266. But let me give you a little context. And for example, and for the other board members, just to show you the due diligence that we go through as an administration. For example, at the high school, there were 3 counselors. Been 3 counselors there for years. We had a retirement. And instead of just going on automatic pilot and filling that position, I met with administration at the high school. We talked about it. And the conversation was, can we deliver the same level of service to our students with 2? Can we try it? So we ran with 2. And we found out that we could do that. We didn't just arbitrarily just fill a culinary job last year. Through a thoughtful conversation, we paused the whole program to make sure that we had our ducks in order to try to restart it, to bring it back to its heyday. From my understanding in the past, it was a well thought of program. So we paused that program. So you'll see the 266 in there was the pause, and now we'd like to re-engage it. That desire has come directly from our students. They've come to Board of Ed meetings, made a case for we're really interested in culinary. So we don't just go on automatic pilot to fill a vacancy. There's a thought process that goes into, can we consolidate duties and responsibilities? Do we really need that position? And if that's the context you're looking for, I can give you a list of every position. But I thought the number up 1 or down wouldn't leave you so much in the dark as you're stating.
I understand from what you've now just said what you've tried to accomplish.
Right.
All right? And it makes sense. But it's not apparent in either the budget documents or in the answer to the questions that I presented to you. You did say, you were forthright in saying that there was an attempt to increase the position by, the FTEs by one for the culinary
Right.
teacher, okay? But you can see the difficulty that one has if you really want to look at the budget and try to understand what's going on when everything is lumped together. And then when you ask a subsequent question about FTEs to try to get the FTEs for teachers and see that there's a single increase, and yet you have numbers of FTEs for the whole group, the whole 266 people, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, okay, I'll leave that. I won't go back and forth if it doesn't make sense to you. But when we talk about non-certified positions and the fluctuations that can exist, many times it's based on student need. So we're just not hiring people we don't need.
And I'm sure you're not. But the question is, how many vacancies are there at the moment? There should be a definitive answer to that. There are either some or none. How many vacancies do you expect to have at the end of the year? Some or none?
And I would say, I would hope that we have no vacancies at the end of the
I know
year.
what your hope is, Sam, but my question was, what's the answer?
Well, I mean, we have positions posted right now, Mr. Parker. So that ebbs and flows depending on who leaves the organization. And as I stated before, if someone leaves the organization, there is a thoughtful conversation. Do we need that position to continue?
I have no doubt that that's the case.
Right.
But when asked the question, how many positions do you have today which are open, and how many do you expect to have at the end of the year which are open, doesn't that question admit of a finite answer? I've either got 2 open, or I got 10 open, or I will have 10 open at the end of the year?
Well, we have some positions posted based on retirements and what's needed for next year.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear exactly what you said.
I said, we have to replace certain teaching positions for next year, and they have been posted, and we're hoping to fill them.
But you could tell us how many there are. Right?
Sure.
If you ask, from my perspective, Sam, if you ask a question like that, and it seems to be based in reality, how many open positions do you have? If you get an answer that's straightforward and direct, then you start to think, well, the person that I'm asking questions of is trying to be helpful, is trying to be responsive, is trying to guide me through this budget. When you get an answer that says, well, it depends, that says that I'm not being helped to be guided through the budget. You follow me?
I hear your words, but I am trying to be transparent with you, as I've been since I started here. Our books have been open from the time I've started here. There are no shell games going on. I come to almost every Board of Finance meeting every single month. There are no shell games.
It's not a question of whether there are shell games or not.
Well, your statement is that I'm not trying to be helpful to you, and I'm really trying to understand from 265 to 266 is troubling you, it seems, that you don't know every position. I can give you that. We have retirements this year that we need to fill. We're trying to fill them. We're hopeful that we can fill them.
Yes. And I don't want to keep kicking the dog on this, but when somebody who is an outsider to the process is trying to understand the budget and understand what you're doing, it's helpful to have answers that respond to the question, okay? Because that then conveys to somebody like me that you're really trying to work me through the process that you go through. This is not about questioning integrity or shell game or anything like that. It's trying to understand what's going on from the perspective of an outsider, from a perspective of somebody who doesn't have intimate knowledge of what you're trying to accomplish. And that's where I think the disconnect is as I look at some of these questions. I hope you understand that. I hope you understand that it isn't a critique of honesty or shell game.
Well, I just want you to be clear that I'm not trying to be evasive. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I just want you to be clear on that from my perspective.
But the way you become clear on that is to say, if I ask you how many positions are open, you say 4. Okay, I mean, I'm making that number up, obviously. But if you want me to be certain of your clarity and certain of your intention, give me the answer. At this time, I'm going to defer to, just because I'm running out of steam in terms of,
This is the good cop. I'm going to be the good cop. Nice lead out of the way. Is indeed. So,
No, I'm listening.
okay.
I can walk and chew gum. I'm tracking. I got you. Yes, sir.
I think this process has gotten a lot better, and I thank you for that. I think we've done his questions, my questions. I think that process is evolving and it's getting sharper. I believe you understood last year, there was no adjustment to your
Right.
budget. The economy is much different this year.
Right.
We are in deep trouble.
Understood. Yep.
And you've made that effort to make the adjustment.
Right.
These questions have helped that. For us to balance this budget, it's 2.36 mils. That would be, I think, difficult for this community. So for us,
Yes.
there has to be some adjustment.
Mhm.
You have the biggest piece of the pie. What the chairman is trying to do is say, if you lost 4 teachers, we're making all this up,
Right.
at X 30-year career high, and you're replacing them with 3 because you're being due diligent at a different level. And I'm assuming the aggregate of all that is shown in your salary adjustments. He's looking for the granular pieces of that. That's his perspective. I'm more of a bottom line guy. I just
Right.
look at the delta and say, okay, if we're going to pass a budget at 2.15 mils,
Right.
we're going to cut a couple $100,000.
Right.
If it's 2.25, we're going to cut less. So
Right.
we're trying to figure out what that number is to make sure your strategic goals and the excellent work you are doing in the district and the employees of the town of Summers are doing with services is not impacted.
Right.
You hear all this crap, pardon my language, you hear all this about class sizes at the high school. Well, if you're trying to raise the level of students graduating, smaller class sizes achieve that, And overall, we're just trying to thread that needle. But what can we take away
Right.
that gives you, and I want you to go home and think about this
Yeah.
on your sleepless nights, although hopefully not from me.
Right,
I'm the
right.
good cop here,
Right.
But somewhere we've got to come up with a number that we feel the town can swallow. There is hope that the legislature, the governor has proposed a $500 million tax credit to the citizens of Connecticut. And the legislature is saying, well, wait a minute, we need to aid cities and towns because their property taxes are going through the roof. I don't know if I sent you that article, but I did send it to Chairman Briggs. We won't know when that happens, but
Right.
the legislature ends on May 6th, I believe. You may have time to thread that needle in the
Right.
11th hour.
Right.
But we do need to make some adjustments. And I ask you to go back to the board and figure out where you could help us in that endeavor.
Thank you for that, and I do appreciate that. And we understand that. We totally understand that. I'm kind of a bottom line kind of person as well, team player. I think we are looking for what is that possible bottom line, and that can cause us to really make some granular decisions on what we can do without directly impacting instruction to students. Since last year, thank you for your support with our curriculum. That support will pay dividends for years. And you're spot on when we're talking about class sizes. April will be my third year starting here, and I was given specific direction by the board when they hired me to figure out why Summers was not performing at the level that we can. And I think I have figured that out. And through the board support and your support, we now have aligned curriculum. We have teachers who are receiving outstanding professional development. We have a high school that's now ranked number 17 in the state. 2 of the 3 schools have received statewide awards. So we are trending in the right way, but we live in reality, right? And we understand where we are financially. So we're totally willing to, of course, work with the board and follow whatever directive comes from the Board of Finance.
Well, if the bad cop can speak for a minute, let me say this, then I agree with what Joe has said, and I appreciate what you're doing. We don't want to impair your efforts to teach our kids, okay? What we do want to do is try to balance out the effect that a 2.36 mil increase is going to have on the citizens of Summers. I mean, if they've just had a reval, right?
Understood.
And so now we're down about 6, I think, mils from where we were.
7.81.
81 mils. So if you have a $300,000 house in Summers, and subject to reval, you're going to get tagged for a couple $100,000 increase. Okay, if we raise the mill rate by 2, okay?
$300,000 house at 2 would be about 400.
If it went to 400,000, in other words, a 1/3 increase,
Right.
you'd have another $100,000 valuation, and you'd pay, if we raised the mill rate too, you'd pay $200,000 in additional tax. If we, and the people in Summers who have watched their values go up from, it was under $1 billion total valuation, now it's up to, what is it, 1.3? 1.3 billion. People are going to be upset, and rightly so. So the questions that I ask as the bad cop are trying to get you to help me understand where we can reduce the budgets of both the school. I mean, and the school is the biggest thing we've got. So Brother Keeney reaches in for pocket change compared to you when we talk about reductions. But we need to have from you where we can cut without damaging your operation.
Right, and just to provide you some clarity from my perspective, I look at personnel last. And I think you're looking at personnel, I'm not going to say first, but that seems to be where you're focused on. So we would do without things and stuff to stay away from the personnel aspect of it.
I couldn't agree more. I understand that personnel are the most valuable piece of the system. And if you have good people, you want to hold on to them.
Right. And then that's, we would freeze, we would hold, to hold on to the people that we have, the people who we've invested in. So I think that maybe that's why, I wouldn't say it's a disconnect. I think I'm looking at it from what stuff can we pause, what can we put on hold, as opposed to looking at the personnel aspect and the number count first.
Well, when it's 81% of your budget, I mean, we just drive right to the...
I know.
And I'm the last person who has a son who's a math teacher in Boston, wants to see anything happen to your staff.
Right.
Trust me.
Right.
From my heart.
Yep.
Because he's going through it now.
And it's a tough conversation to have, with people. So like I said, we are willing partners,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of a bottom line person. If we understand what the figures are, then we can react to that. And with stuff and things being the first priority, not the folks.
So, I don't believe we're going to make any final decisions tonight, but I would ask you and the chairman to when we meet again,
Sure.
to try to help us out.
Absolutely.
Whatever we've got an opportunity with the state to do some differences here. I do have a specific question. I don't know if Chairman Parker talked about it, but the town and you guys have the same health insurance, but your premium is 18% increase, and I think the town is 3.9. I'm not sure how I don't need an answer tonight, but I don't know why there's 14% delta between the two organizations when you have the same insurance provider. So it could be more single families, more singles, or
Ours on the town side. Yeah, so ours on the town side, we had 2 people that moved from a family plan down to employee plus spouse because their kids aged out. A third one midway through fiscal 27 will happen as well. And then we had an increase in the employee cost share, another 1.5% to the employees. So when you net it all out, I mean, number for number, yeah, we were up about 10%, but when you net it all out, we got to that 4% number. Basically by lack of attrition.
Right. And I do know, since it's right in front of me, regarding single, we went up 3 people, dual 6, family 1, for a total of 10 onto the health plan. So.
Yeah, we had no new people, and we might.
you had more added.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and we might lose, 1 or so, depending on, changes at personnel levels.
In the past, there's been a pattern of increases in insurance budgets, health insurance budgets in particular, which, remember, you're trying to, when you're doing a budget, you're trying to probably deal for the worst case scenario, but oftentimes the actual insurance cost is substantially less than what the projected cost is. So, we need your help in that regard.
Okay.
I have one more.
Yeah,
but
you go, Joe.
No, you go.
No.
So mine's going to be a little ugly. So,
No.
so I want to talk special ed. So you have, I think, a budget of $77,200,000, say.
Yep.
State appropriated another 300 and
3, call it 3.25.
your expenditures to date, you need that 3.25 because you've overexpended that account line item.
We have invoices, yes.
All right. So, Mr. Kinney, in my opinion, all the funds that come into the town of Summers, federal, state, property taxes, grants, are under the purview of the Board of Finance to ensure that they are administered according to laws, regulations, yada, yada, yada. I believe that money belongs to the Board of Ed, and it's sitting in the Board of Selectmen. And we need to solve that problem quietly and quickly, because we don't want anyone to be insolvent under Chairman Parker's watch. So, thank you. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, I'm done.
Good. My question isn't really Board of Ed per se, but it's really just trying to get a better grip on big picture. I think this whole thing with the mill rate is sort of a fiction anyway, because you're just backing into the rate that matches the same property tax.
Mm-hmm.
So the increase, it's going to be increased anyway. So I don't get hung up on that stuff. But what I'm trying to glean is, what is the dollar increase overall from last year to this year?
For, what's the
The total budget, both sides.
total budget increase dollar-wise?
You don't have to be on the dot.
1.4 million. is the expense increase. The revenues to match it would be 2.9 million because we had the use of fund balance.
That was my next question.
And then a decrease in a state aid grant and a reduction in projected bank interest.
So, I'm sorry, the 1.4 bakes in the use of the fund balance? Or
Right,
does
so the expenses went up 1.4 million.
Right, and now we have to make up 2.9?
Right, because you need the 1.4 million that was between the cuts in revenue and the use of fund balance, and then that 1.4 million broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can only spend $1 one time. So when you spend fund balance, it's gone.
Depends.
That's the 2.36, that's the delta.
Okay.
So, and as far as like the mill rate and so forth goes, just to give you a little information, in the town of Somers, the assessed home value, or the average assessed home in Somers, is $322,487. When you take that and multiply it by 70%, which is what we actually tax at, it works out to like 270 something thousand. Where did my history go? Saying a 2.25 mil increase, for example, on the average assessed value home in Somers is a $508 increase for the year. It's $42 a month. I know it seems like a lot. We're probably one of the lower statewide. I just saw a report today. Manchester is going up 8 mils.
Wouldn't want to live there, would you, Brian?
Unfortunately. Yeah, so a lot of these town or statewide, everybody's seeing it because state grants are being cut by the day, even though they sit on a gold mine of money. And the only way, every town deals with the same thing. Boards of education are 75% of the budget, the towns are 20%, and then your debt service and everything else is usually about 5%. Boards of education have employment contracts and so forth, and 5 times the staff that we have on the town side. So their numbers inflate a lot faster than ours do.
Maybe the income tax rates need to come down in Connecticut and increase the property tax.
Right. Everybody champions to get rid of the car tax, for example.
God, no.
The car tax just for the town of Somers, the motor vehicles, we get $2.6 million just out of motor vehicles. If that goes away, real estate goes up 2 mils to match that. That's the only other place it comes from. It doesn't grow on trees, unfortunately. Saying, yes, it's a hard pill to swallow. This is no doing of anyone's other than, people just, when the state thinks they know what's best for everyone, and really all they know what's best for is themselves, it puts everybody else in a hard position. The other 169 towns have to make tough decisions.
Thanks.
Yep.
Do you have anything further, Sam?
No, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you have a question of Sam?
No, I was just going to say I enjoyed the reading of those materials. I'm learning more every year, but I don't have a specific question. But great job with everything that you guys presented.
Thank you.
Mr. Keeney?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the board. A couple of things. First of all, just to refer to Scott Sutter's comments with regards to his concern about the movement of a full-time equivalent from the general fund to the recreational fund. We decided we could do that because there has been excess in the recreational fund in the past. And the thinking is if there's need to be increased expenditures to maintain some of our parks and recreational facilities, we go through the same program, capital improvement program, and ask for it there. I mean, so in other words, there's not going to be any loss here, I don't think. And there's just a lot of, I think, pent-up concern about, oh my God, they're moving one of our full-time personnel from the general fund to the rec fund just to save $50 million. That's, we did it for a good reason, in other words. I don't see there to be any particular risk involved myself. He's probably got a different point of view, but that's fine.
As long as you maintain the level of,
Yeah, services, that's what it's all about.
and if you get in trouble, you know where we live.
That's what our whole budget has been, is to maintain current services. And we think we've been doing a good job up until now, and we want to continue that way. In that regard, I want to refer you to today's front page of the Journal-Inquirer, which talks about the town of Manchester. Their administrator is seeking an 8.3% increase in their budget. Now, as you know, we've asked for a 3.7% increase, and the school has asked for a 3.68% increase. Just to put it into focus, and we're talking about continuing current services, and that's what Manchester's also trying to do. But they've got 8.3% increase to maintain their current services. You could read the article. It's pretty good. Okay, a couple things I want to mention here. Let's see. One is Maureen Parcell, in fact, our Director of Recreational and Leisure Services, has submitted her resignation. But it'll be filled, of course. So we're going to post that today. We already have. And one last thing I wanted to mention was with regards to the Somersville Mill low-income housing project, which I told you about last month, where WIN is no longer a contender because the Department of Housing, through their capital finance improvement program, or what's it called, the capital finance? No, it's with CHAPA. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Their CHAPA director basically said, hey, it's just too expensive, we're not going to fund it, period. Or, just find somebody else. So we put together a group, sort of ad hoc group of our own within the town hall, and the committee is thinking that the way to go from here on out, first movement is towards Woodcrest Phase 3. Where we would actually build another building. We've got Woodcrest Phase 1 and Phase 2. We would build another building. We've got the property. I think we can do it. We had a meeting with David Pinney, Chairman of the Summers Housing Authority, last week. He is all for it. He believes his board will be too. So I just want you to know we are pursuing additional low-income housing for the town of Summers.
They have the ability to bond that, right?
They sure do.
Right. Yeah. And they're pretty successful at it under that that label.
They've had good experience.
Yeah.
They have.
Good. That's a great move.
That's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
No. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Brian, do you have an update for us on anything?
As far as the finance department, not necessarily. I gave you guys a list of the run through the end of February. We continue to plug along on the budget right there with you guys. As far as the HVAC project update, we had on Monday, we had a meeting with the state, design conference meeting. I'd like to thank Joe and Bill for letting me be the guy on that meeting. It was the longest 2 hours of my life. It was, I'm convinced the state didn't know how to run a design meeting, so they just kind of winged it.
Good.
STV is working diligently to put together the documents that they are requesting, and within the next week or two, they'll be submitting all of that and requesting the PCR plan something review.
Oh, sorry.
PCR plan and construction review.
Plan construction review?
Yeah.
Something like that.
We have to have that meeting with the state. After that, they sign off on your plans, and we can actually go out to bid. And other than that, they put out our official statement to the banks for our ban note for the roads, and this time next month we'll be closing on that and beginning paving of year two of the road plan. So,
Can you remind me of the timing of the HVAC?
timing of it?
Yeah, when would it be proposed to be started?
They're hoping to start it in June, July timeframe over this summer. I'd say at this point we're probably 4 weeks behind. We thought we would be going out to bid at the beginning of March. Looks like we're leaning more towards mid-April at this point.
Okay.
Before we deal with the minutes of the last meeting, I just wanted to bring to your attention the work that Joe Talisano has done in moving the HVAC project along for the schools. I mean, as we sit here, good cop and bad cop, and raise our hackles about certain things, it's been Joe who has worked very hard, I know, since 2020, when we first brought the matter up, to try to get the schools air-conditioned and properly treated so the kids would have the absolute best environment in which to learn. And it's his doggedness that we're finally on the cusp of trying to put that project in motion. Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Minutes for the Special Board of Finance meeting on March 10th.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Beat you.
Any discussion? No? All in favor? Aye. Joe, one last opportunity.
Before you adjourn,
Another meeting, right?
before you adjourn, next meeting, what are you thinking to finalize the budget?
2 weeks.
All right, so April 7th?
So that's a Tuesday? Yep. John, April 7th?
Can make that work.
Yep. That'll give everybody time to do their homework in terms of trying to deal with budget issues, trying to find places where we can deal with it without giving away the too much of the position of the Board of Finance. And only speaking for myself, I'd like to see us be in a position to be in a position to raise the mill rate if we're going to raise it by 2 mills. That means that we need to find either revenue or cuts to deal with about $460,000, $465,000.
What's that back of the napkin math? 470. That's pretty good, Mike. I'm pretty impressed.
Well, the school department got a new math program.
I didn't realize you re-enrolled.
And I've been taking night classes, and I'm glad you can see the results. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you very much.